Hello everyone, welcome to Beneath the Surface. Today we are talking to Kelly McIntosh. She has transformed her life and the lives of so many other persons, including her son. Now I came across Kelly on Twitter, where she posts constantly about her health transformation and also photos of her food that always looks so scrumptious and heavenly. And then a former coworker of mine posted to Twitter about her health transformation, thanking Kelly. I decided that I must contact this lady. And can I tell you, that's one of the best decisions I have made. I know you are ready to hear why I'm so excited. And so I'll tell you that today, Kelly and I will be talking about how our food can be our medicine. Kelly, welcome to BTS.
Thank you so much, Kadene. Looking forward to our conversation.
As am I. Now, Kelly, you have transformed your life. Share with us a little bit about where you were, why a transformation was necessary.
Yes, so I have always struggled with my weight from a little girl right up. And I've gone through periods where I have lost weight, where I have gained it back, where I've lost again, gained it back, but always struggling, always trying every diet you can think of under the sun. And I had given up. I was 49 years old. I just turned 49 3 years ago. And I had given up. I took out all my slim clothes out the cupboard and gave them away. But then I saw a picture of myself, Kadene, and I was not happy. And I said, I need to try this one more time. I need to try.
Hold on.
And then my son, yes.
So you were 49 when you decided that, okay, you're not giving up, something else had to happen. And I'm saying that because many of us hear that once you get to 40, it's impossible to lose weight. And you're saying, what I'm hearing is that's not true.
It's not true. It is harder. It is harder, but it is not impossible.
All right,
I'm 52 now and I'm living proof. And so, and my son, who was then 14, he was heavy and I was concerned about his health and his personal happiness. And so I decided to give a particular way of losing weight one last try. It had worked for me in the past. I had not been consistent. It was the least painful way that I knew of. And so we decided jointly to eat low carb. And the rest, as they say, is history. In the 3 years, I have lost probably over 60 pounds. I have gone from a size 20 plus jeans down to a nice, comfortable size 12 regular. My goal is a size 10. And I feel great. I have not been sick in 3 years, Kadene.
Wow. So you're saying for all the persons who have been struggling with being with weight issues, that there is hope. Even if you've passed the age of 40, it is not impossible to lose weight and to keep it off. And
without hesitation.
And you said, right, and you said the method that you used is one of the least painful ways that you've gone about improving your health. Okay, all right. So with that said, I think this is important for us to talk about. This is something that you post about a lot. The fact that obesity, being overweight, is linked to so many other illnesses.
Yes.
I remember our conversations and I was so enlightened by all the information that you had and that you shared with me. And it really made a difference for me in my journey. So let's now talk about that. What are some of the health issues that are so common for us these days?
So let's talk about the big ones. Diabetes type 2, hypertension, obesity, polycystic ovarian syndrome that affects so many of us women, inflammatory arthritis. All these conditions that we call them lifestyle diseases, non-communicable diseases. And they consume a lot of different countries' health budgets. They cause untold suffering, and it's probably one of the leading causes of death today. All of those have one common root, and that is insulin resistance. And the way of eating that I embarked upon, that has helped me, helped my son, and helped thousands of others all over the world, attacks and addresses the very root of these conditions, insulin resistance.
So tell us a little bit, because you will have persons who have never heard the term, and then you have persons who have heard it but may not necessarily even understand at its core what it means.
What it is, yes. So insulin, most of us know insulin to be a hormone that's responsible for managing how our bodies use sugar, glucose, sugars that come from both sugars and starches that we eat. Those of us who are said to be insulin resistant, our insulin doesn't work the way it's supposed to work. And so when we consume carbohydrates in the form of sugars or starches, and our body does what it's supposed to do and secretes the insulin to break it down, it doesn't work well. And we're left with two things happening. One, the sugar is not broken down, so our blood sugar levels rise, and the body senses that the blood sugar is rising and compensates for this ineffective insulin mechanism and secretes more insulin, and we're also left with high insulin levels. Those two things together cause rises in blood sugar, which is a diabetes type 2. It interferes with kidney functioning, so you retain a lot of water. That's blood pressure issues right there. It also, high insulin causes your body to hold on to fat. It is what we call a lipophilic hormone. And so that's why so many of us have problems losing weight, because we eat the carbohydrates, our insulin levels go high, and our body gets a signal that says, hold on to the fat, hold on to the fat. And the high insulin also prevents us from feeling full, which is why moderation and small portions do not work for so many of us. We can't sustain it. It's because our high insulin levels tell us we are never truly full.
This is important for me personally, because we learned a couple years ago now, probably about 3 years ago, that my daughter has elevated A1C levels and has been diagnosed as being pre-diabetic. And one of the key things that has been an issue that we've been trying to manage over the last 6-7 years or so is how rapidly she gains weight.
Yes.
And it's only as time has passed that we have made the connection to, because she doesn't eat a lot. And it's like, it would make sense. How are you gaining this much weight just constantly? You know, and it has been hard for her and for us trying to help her and to try and figure out what is wrong, because it was obvious that something's wrong. And so our latest visit to the doctor saw us being now informed. So yes, she is insulin resistant. And it is unfortunate. When I think about it, it's unfortunate that we didn't have certain information earlier, because there's so much more that could have been done to prevent it from getting as bad as it currently is. And so, because there's now so much more work that is required to change habits and the lifestyle. And now we fully understand the impact of certain foods on her body.
Yes.
So that is key.
Yes. It is never too late. It is never too late. And our metabolic health can improve in a shorter time than we think, once we make the changes to alter what I refer to as our hormonal context. It is not about calories in or calories out. It is about creating an environment within our bodies, especially for those of us who are insulin resistant, that frees up our body to burn its own fat for energy. It's a wonderful thing.
Yes. So we've been talking, Kelly, about insulin resistance, and it impacts so many persons these days. But there is something that you highlighted that I was surprised, and that was that there is no medicine that addresses insulin resistance. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, that's the fact. There is no pharmaceutical available to take down our insulin levels. Because that's what happens when you're insulin resistant. You have hyperinsulinemia, which is high blood insulin levels. And that's what we want to take down, to reduce the inflammation, to let our kidneys function, to get the signal to burn our own fat. There's no medicine for that.
So
Once you find a way, yes,
no, man, go ahead.
Once you find a way to take down your insulin levels, you will have addressed the root cause of obesity, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and all the other NCDs that we spoke about earlier. The diabetes medications, for example, they don't take down insulin levels.
Which is what I wanted to ask you.
Yes.
What do they do?
They just deal with the symptom of insulin resistance, which is high blood sugar. So you take your meds, your blood sugars look normal, but the high insulin levels remain, causing untold organ damage, which is why so many diabetics end up with kidney failure, blindness, and some of them eventually lose limbs because the medication did not address the root cause. It only addressed the symptom.
You know, I really don't think most people are aware of that, you know.
No, they're not. They're not. It is as if I have a headache due to a tumor and I keep taking Panadol and my headache subside. But one day I'm going to wake up not able to move or see because that tumor has gotten so big. It is causing untold damage. So I treated the symptom, but the cause went unchecked. That's the same thing with diabetes medication.
That's a profound point, because we are, as you say, treating the symptom and not the underlying issue itself. Yeah. And this is why people who are diabetic and are on medication need to be on medication for the rest of their lives. There's no point where you come, unless, as we've discussed, there are serious lifestyle changes that addresses the underlying issue, which now takes us perfectly into something that you are passionate about and that I'm now passionate about. I'm living without eating rice and flour and things like that since May, and I don't miss it. I thought it would have been a little bit challenging, but listen, it's the best. Kelly, I should tell you, I don't think I've told you. This is the best I've eaten, and consistently, for a long time. Meaning, I am excited about my food every day. Like, truly. Hobby and I talk about it a lot. I am excited about my meals every day. There is nothing boring about my meals, and there's nothing bland about them. And we're showing you pictures of Kelly's creations and my creations, because people have also discovered that, you know, I'm a chef.
That makes me so happy to hear, Kadene, because one of my mantras is say no to deprivation. This way of eating works, and it is not painful.
No, it's not. And to tell you the truth, to the point where I don't look forward to eating out at all, because most times when I do eat out now, the food, the standard, the taste isn't what I am now accustomed to when I prepare my food at home. And so I actually prefer to eat in, you know. And so I know I went on about that a while ago, so I'll turn it over to you. Let's talk now about a low carb diet such as keto, and its impact on our health.
Okay, so the keto diet, or any other low carb diet, low carb meaning that we take carbohydrates way down. The keto diet says we don't consume more than 20 grams total carbs per day. And most of us will lose weight and improve our metabolic health at 20 grams carbs or less per day. Now, this is not a way of eating where you have to count anything. I always say, if you're eating real food, meat, fish, chicken, dairy, eggs, green vegetables, some nuts, healthy fats, you will be below 20 grams of carbs per day. And the possibilities are endless within that boundary. And that's how I eat. That's how you're eating now. And it works for us because we no longer have that trigger for the insulin, which is the root of our issues. Our bodies now burn its own fat. We now are able to feel full and stop, Cravings subside over time, which is one of the great things that happened for me. You ever think about how it's impossible to eat half a pack of cookies, but you're not going to eat 2 big whole chickens at one time? There's a reason. When we eat carbs, the cravings continue and perpetuate. This is the great thing about keeping our insulin low by removing carbs from our diet. Some people, a point that I would like to make, some people say, but don't you need carbs for energy? That's a very important question that I want to just address very briefly. No, you don't. You absolutely don't. Science shows that carbohydrates are the one non-essential macronutrient for human life, provided that fats and proteins are in sufficient quantities. You don't need carbs if you are consuming enough protein and fat. So why consume them if your insulin doesn't work the way it's supposed to work, right? That's my ethos. Yes, your brain especially needs glucose, but you don't need to eat it. The body creates its own glucose via a process called gluconeogenesis. And so you don't need to eat glucose to have glucose in your body. Your body makes all the glucose you need.
One of the most important things for me is information. Like, for me, it's always been a game changer. So I seek it out. I embrace it. I don't have to agree with every bit of new information that comes my way, but that's what keeps me going. And I'm listening to what you are sharing. I recognize that more of us could lead healthier lives and do more for ourselves health-wise if we were aware or more aware of how our bodies function, what we actually need to be in optimal health and to maintain optimal health, and how foods impact our bodies and our health overall. Because it is profound information that you are sharing, and the reality is, if more of us had that kind of information, we could make better decisions. I also think it is important for us to reiterate something. Eating a low carb diet does not mean that you are going without. You're not deprived of anything. Your life doesn't become boring. In other words, I'm saying this because most times when we think about eating healthily or living a healthier lifestyle, it feels like work and it's painful, because that's what most of us are accustomed to. We're accustomed to denying ourselves and living in a perpetual state of feeling lack, like you're hungry and you're feeling like you're dying and you're miserable and all of that. But that hasn't been my experience going the keto route, low carb route. And I've gone the extra mile. So in other words, what I've discovered now is, if all I do is keep maintaining my low carb diet and don't work out for an extended period, I maintain whatever weight I'm currently at. And that is a big deal, because my birthday was last Wednesday, and I'm now all of 40. There's this part of me that was dreaded. Thank you. Well, I've never dreaded getting older. I look forward to it, because so many people don't get to certain milestones, and so I celebrate each day and each year. I embrace it. But there's the things that people are saying about not being able to lose weight after you pass a certain age. had me worried, because since COVID, I had gained how much weight, and I didn't want to keep it. So the fear was there, am I just stuck with this? But I find that that is not true. And I'm also eating the best that I've ever eaten in probably forever. And so there is no downside to this for me. And so I'm encouraging persons then to go research some more, do some more reading on your own. Kelly, there's a question that I want to ask you.
Yes.
I've come across an article that talks about increase in cholesterol levels when persons are on low carb diet. So if anybody is watching now and has also come across information like that or is concerned about that, is there any information that you can share to help with that?
Sure. A lot of people, even doctors, medical professionals, are, for want of a better word, behind the times with new thinking on cholesterol. Cholesterol, especially what is referred to as the bad cholesterol, which really isn't so, the LDL cholesterol, is no longer considered to be a risk factor for cardiovascular disease. That's where the fear of cholesterol came from to begin with, that this fatty substance would clog up our arteries and cause a heart attack. That is not how cholesterol works. Fact number one, 85% of your blood cholesterol levels, your body makes it itself. It doesn't come from diet. Number two, the LDL is no longer considered to be a cardiovascular risk. In fact, you have cholesterol. The presence of cholesterol in our bodies increases when you have damage to your artery walls. So the body sends the cholesterol to heal the damage. Do you know what causes damage in our artery walls? Things like smoking, things like high insulin levels, things like high blood sugar levels. So when you remove that, when you address that insulin resistance and you take down your insulin levels because of your food choices, by your food choices, your cholesterol typically will go down. There are some people who do show an elevated LDL at first when they start a ketogenic diet. Most people will, after 90 days, 120 days, see that level dropping. I am not concerned about cholesterol levels. It is not an indicator of cardiovascular disease. If you are concerned though, your protein can consist of lean meats, chicken, and fish, if you are concerned. But there's a lot of new information about cholesterol out there. If you really are concerned and you have a family history of it, seek out a doctor who understands low-carb eating and go consult with that doctor.
I love how much knowledge you have. It shows how much research that you have done.
A lot.
I can tell. As we were talking about doctors a while ago, I know that it is important for us to highlight that there's not a one-size-fits-all for everybody. Let's talk about that.
And Kadene, this is something that I say. I never prescribe a ketogenic diet or a low-carb diet as a universal prescription. I share my story. I know exactly how it worked for me and why. I am comfortable with the science behind it. I am more than comfortable with the lifestyle changes that I have made that I'm able to easily sustain. So I share it. I share the science. I know why it works. Like I said, this works for people who are insulin resistant. If you're insulin resistant, you typically gain weight easily. It's hard to lose weight. It is painful to eat all things in moderation successfully. And so I simply say this: are your food choices working for you? If your food choices are not working for you, then I invite you to challenge them. Why aren't they working? What could you do differently that may work? I issue no instructions or issue a prescription. I simply invite us all to say, Are my food choices working for me? Why am I living on medications? Why is it so hard for me to lose weight? Do I really want to? Is it inevitable that my kidneys will fail as I get older if I'm diabetic? Is there another way? And you answer those questions for yourself and go where the answers lead you.
I've mentioned that Kelly has helped many persons become healthier. She even dedicates much of her time researching low-carb diet and how various foods impact our health. She readily shares this information on her blog and her Twitter page. Let's now look at how Kelly offers even more help as a keto coach.
You are based in Jamaica. I am in the US, but you help people and work with people all over the world.
Yes, that's a fact. I made it my point of duty to understand what was happening in me, because like you, once I understood what was happening, it made it easier for me to make the choices and stick to it. And so, yeah, I have invested a lot of my time and energy in understanding the science behind eating low carb. And it has been my privilege to pay it forward, to work with people who think that this could work for them. And so, yes, I'm a keto coach. You can read about my own journey. You can get my contact information on my blog. I blog about it quite freely. My blog is at kellykatherine.com.
I can say that's why you're so passionate. The passion that you have for helping persons, it comes through. It does, and you share the information freely and willingly. And I want to add right here that though you are a keto coach and you work with persons, you don't only keep the information that you have for people who you're working with. You freely every day share something on online about your journey, how you've gotten healthier, and share information, articles and so on about progress made, new discovery, this. And so just by following your Twitter handle gives a ton of information.
Where a coach comes in handy. And there are people who have benefited just from my blog and from the articles. I've had people stop me in the grocery and say, "Hi, Kelly," and "Hi, I've lost 30 pounds from following your blog," and that makes me happy. But where a coach can be useful for some of us is if you think you can benefit from custom advice to your way of life, your peculiarities, your particular health challenges, and somebody that is on call. So you can WhatsApp and say, "Kelly, I'm going out to eat Indian tonight. What can I eat? What can I do?" Or you're in the supermarket and you see something that says keto bread, and you say, "I wonder if this is really good." And you take a picture and you send to me from wherever you are in the world. I have clients from all over the world who literally WhatsApp me pictures when they're shopping and say, "Do you think this is good?" Because sometimes that personal touch can really help to solidify new habits and help with decision making.
That is true. And you are an amazing accountability partner and keto coach. And I encourage anybody who needs that feel like they may need that additional support to actually get them started or get them going to a healthier life. Later, I'm reminding you that Kelly is an amazing coach, and the fact that she doesn't just talk the talk, but she walks the walk as well. She's living testimony.
We've been having an informative session with Kelly about the benefits of a low-carb diet, especially for persons who may be insulin resistant. Stay with us as we round up our chat.
The onus is on each of us really and truly to take control of our health. And a great way for doing that is to start by asking questions and then researching. Kelly, is there anything that you want to say to our viewers to close out this week?
Yes. The one thing I would want to leave for you to think about is, are you living your best life ever? There is something very wonderful that happens when your health and your body are optimized. I like to use the word alignment. Things just come into alignment. There are other areas of our lives, but they're all interconnected. You lose weight, you get healthier, You start making better decisions. There is no reason to settle, people. There is no reason to settle. Challenge what's not working and change it for the better, to your benefit.
With that, thank you so much for joining us for another BTS episode. See you next week.
Thank you for watching Beneath the Surface. Remember to subscribe, like, and share with your friends and family.